Raising the Titanic has been a hotly debated issue, really ever since it sank over 100 years ago, and then certainly since it was discovered on the ocean floor 2.5 miles down. That was in 1985. A lot of people want it up for viewing. Others say it's a tomb and should lie where it rests. Regardless, it is something that is fascinating all of those in the deep submergence community, people who want to see it for themselves, no matter how far down it is, right? The wreckage itself of the Titanic is protected by UNESCO, the Heritage Program. It's also under the protection of a US-UK agreement. Survivors have been quoted as saying it is wrong to, quote, dig up people's graves. People have tried, people have thought of it. They've come up with all sorts of schemes, from balloons to all sorts of ways to raise that wreckage. But should it be raised, and can it be raised? And what about the Titan now that lies beside it? That submersible and its wreckage is just 1,600 feet away. We asked the co-founder of OceanGate, Guillermo Sunline, what he thought about that recovery.
I do agree with what the Coast Guard Admiral said during the press briefing, that operating at those depths with the intense pressure that there is, if something happened as catastrophic as they believe, there may not be much to recover. And even if there is something to recover, it'll be incredibly difficult to bring it up to the surface.
Joining me now is Armen Kurdian. He is a search and rescue expert and a retired Navy captain. Captain, thank you for being on with me. What would a Titan recovery even look like, if it's possible?
Well, good evening, Ashleigh. So the first step in the process is to make sure you've cataloged, surveyed, taken photographs, everything that you possibly can do at this time, because now no longer are you rushing against time. Because it's going to be very vital to know what the orientation is of these parts of the vessel on the seafloor and how they were broken and where they are actually sitting. Because just by knowing that and having a good idea of the current, you can have a pretty decent idea of where the structural failure may have occurred and where the implosion may have occurred as well. Once you have done everything that you possibly can by surveillance, then you're going to very carefully bring those parts back up to the surface. Now, this is not like the Titanic, a question of disturbing someone's grave. The cruise ship was a terrible disaster. But in this case, there is a lot that can be learned from the disaster in terms of what actually failed on this vessel, so that design changes can be made to future submersible vehicles going on in the future. We don't know whether this carbon fiber or this innovative hull design was a causal factor or even supporting factor. We don't know whether there may have been a small fire inside or a small explosion that might have caused a great pressure imbalance from the inside of the vessel instead of the outside. There's a lot that we don't know. We have to learn, we have to understand, and just like the redesign of the Apollo 1 module, redesign of the space shuttle after the Challenger disaster, redesign of the cars you and I drive after accident testing, all of those lessons learned, sometimes they are learned in blood, unfortunately, but it goes towards protecting the next generation of explorers.
Well, and speaking of those heroes, what are the odds? What are the chances for actually recovering their remains?
Well, I think, as some of your guests alluded to, the violence of this explosion, let alone the pressures of, basically an adult African elephant standing on 2 square inches of pressure, it's not likely that there's much left. So if they are there and they can be recovered, then quite frankly, I think at this point it's just a decision between them and the families whether they want them to be resting there or brought to the surface, or maybe just their clothes or some small part of them to be interred on the surface as well, where they were born, and they've gone to sleep, eternal sleep on the ocean floor. So at that point, it's just a decision there. It's entirely possible there may be human remains within the wreckage itself. And if that's the case, then it will just end up being brought up to the surface in one package.
It's all such a sad development, not the one we were hoping for or expecting, but believed it was definitely possible. Armen Kurdian, thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for your expertise. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.